it's only 4:30. We got quite a bit of time to spend together before I leave, about 45 minutes. We started on hello, again, left tubers. We started on chapter 9 yesterday of the 4-hour work week. Let's get back to chapter 9 today, shall we? Okay. Y'all got any major plans for the weekend? Well, we're going to do about half an hour. I'm going to see about putting that grant paperwork on paper and see how many pages it is and going from there. Let's see. Ooh. Timothy, Ferriss. Have y'all had a good week so far? I hope so. I hope your week was everything you wanted it to be. All right, there we are. Chapter 9. Again, if you are an author and you need book reviews, hit me up on Facebook or let me know in the comments and I'll post the link for you. I wrote some juicy stuff that's over there on vocal.media, and I'm hoping to work with 20 wonderful women and us getting connected and getting these book reviews started. Ah, here it is. That's what I was looking for. I know I ended where it said it's time to find your muse last night. Okay. There are 1,000,001 ways to make $1,000,000. Hallelujah, Lord, because I'm going to need one. From franchising to freelance consulting, the list is endless. Fortunately, most of them are unsuited to our purpose. This chapter is not for people who want to run businesses, but for those who want to own businesses and spend no time on them. What happened? Oh, there we go. I'm going to repeat that. I need it to sink in. This chapter is not for people who want to run businesses, but for those who want to own businesses and spend no time on them. Oh, okay. The response I get when I introduce this concept is more or less universal. Huh? People can't believe that most of the ultra successful companies in the world do not manufacture their own products, answer their own phones, ship their own products, or service their own customers. He just told me I'm doing too much. That's what he just said. I'm doing way too much. There are hundreds of companies that exist to pretend to work for someone else and handle these functions, providing rentable infrastructure to anyone who knows where to find them. Think Microsoft manufactures the Xbox 360 or that Kodak designs and distributes their digital cameras. Guess again. Flextronics, a Singapore-based engineering and manufacturing firm with locations in 30 countries and $15.3 billion in annual revenue, does both. Most popular brands of mountain bikes in the U.S. are all manufactured in the same 3 or 4 plants in China. Dozens of call centers press one button to answer calls for the JCPenney's of the world, another to answer calls for the Dell computer of the world, and yet another to answer calls for the new rich like me. It's all beautifully transparent and cheap. Before we create this virtual architect, however, we need a product to sell. If you own a service business, this section will help you convert expertise into a downloadable or shippable good to escape the limits of a per-hour based model. If starting from scratch, ignore service businesses for now, as constant customer contact makes absolute difficult. To narrow the field further, our target product can't take more than $500 to test. It has to lend itself to automation within 4 weeks, and then when up and running, it can't require more than 1 day per week of management. Can a business be used to change the world, like The Body Shop or Patagonia? Yes, but that isn't our goal here. Can a business be used to cash out through an IPO or sell? Yes, but that isn't our goal either. Our goal is simple: to create an automated vehicle for generating cash without consuming time. That's it. I will call this vehicle a muse. Whenever possible, to separate it from ambiguous teen term business, which can refer to a lemonade stand or a Fortune 10 oil conglomerate. Our objective is more limited and thus requires a more precise label. So first things first, cash flow and time. With these two currencies, all other things are possible. Without them, nothing is possible. Why to begin with the end in mind? A cautionary tale. Ooh, this sounds fun. Let's dive in. Sarah's excited. It has been 2 weeks since her line of humorous t-shirts for golfers went online, and she is averaging 5 t-shirts per day at $15 each. Her cost per unit is $5, so she is grossing $50 in profits minus 3% in credit card fees per 24 hours as she passes shipping and handling on to the customers. She should soon recoup the cost of her initial order of 300 shirts, including plate charges, setup, etc., but wants to earn more. It's a nice reversal of fortune considering the fate of her first product. She had spent $12,000 to develop, patent, and manufacture a high-tech stroller for new moms. She has never been a new mom. Only to find that no one was interested. Oh, okay. The t-shirts, in contrast, were actually selling, but sales were beginning to slow. It appears she has reached her online sales ceiling as well, self-funded and uneducated competitors are now spending too much for advertising and driving up cost. Then it strikes her. Retail! Sarah approaches the manager of her local golf shop, Bill, who immediately expresses interest in carrying the shirt. She's thrilled. Bill asks for the customary 14% minimum discount for wholesale pricing. That means her sale price is now $9 instead of $15, and her profit has just dropped from $10 to $4. Sarah decides to give it a shot and does the same with 3 other stores in surrounding towns. The shirts begin to move off the shelves, but she soon realizes that her small profit is being eaten by extra hours she spends handling invoices and additional administration. She decided to approach a distributor to alleviate the labor, a company that acts as a shipping warehouse and sells products for various manufacturers to golf stores nationwide. The distributor is interested and asks for its usual pricing, 70% off of retail, or $4.50, which would leave Sarah 50 cents in the hole on each unit. She declines. To make matters worse, the 4 local stores have already started discounting her shirts to compete among one another and are killing their own profit margins. 2 weeks later, reorders disappear. Sarah abandons retail and returns to her website demoralized. Sales online have dropped to almost nothing with new competition. She has not recouped her initial investment and she still has 50 shirts in her garage. Not good. It all could have been prevented with proper testing and planning. Ed, Mr. Cretin Bird, is no Sarah. He does not invest and hope for the best. His San Francisco-based company, MRI, had the top-selling sports supplement in the U.S. from 2002 to 2005. Number 2. It is still a top seller despite dozens of imitators. He did it through smart testing, smart positioning, and brilliant distribution. Prior to manufacturing, MRI first offered a low-priced book related to the product through 1/4 page advertisements in men's health magazines. Once the need had been confirmed with a mountain of book orders, number 2 was priced at an outrageous $79.95, positioned at the premium product on the market, and sold exclusively through GNC stores nationwide. No one else was permitted to sell it. How can it make sense to turn away business? There are a few good reasons. First, the more competing resellers there are, the faster your product goes extinct. This was one of Sarah's mistakes. It works like this. Reseller A sells a product for your recommended advertised price of $50. Then reseller B sells it for $45 to compete with A. And then C sells it for $40 to compete with A and B. And no time at all, no one is making profit from selling your product, and reorders disappear. Customers are now accused to the lower pricing and process is irreversible. The product is dead and you need to create a new product. This is precisely the reason why so many companies need to create new product after new product, month after month. It's a headache. Whew. I'm sorry, Sarah. Okay. I had one single supplement, Brain Quicken, also sold as Body Quick. For 6 years and maintained a consistent profit margin by limiting wholesale distribution, particularly online to the top one of 2 largest resellers who could move serious quantities of product and who agreed to maintain a minimum advertised pricing. Otherwise, rogue discounters on eBay and mom and pop independents will drive you broke. Second, if you offer someone exclusivity, which means manufacturers try to avoid, it can work in your favor. Since you are offering one company 100% of the distribution, it is possible to negotiate better profit margins, offering less of a discount off of retail price, better marketing support in store, faster payment, and other preferential treatment. It is critical that you decide how you will sell and distribute your product before you commit to a product in the first place. The more middlemen are involved, the higher your margins must be to maintain profitability for all the links in the chain. Chain, 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 chain of fools. Ed Bird realized this and exemplifies how doing the opposite of what most do can reduce risk and increase profit. Choosing distribution before product is just one example. Ed drives a Lamborghini down the California coast when not traveling or in the office with his small, focused staff and his two Australian shepherds. This outcome is not accidental. His product creation methods and those of the new rich in general can be emulated. Here's how you do it in the fewest number of steps. Oh, this is going to be beautiful. Step one, pick an affordably reachable niche market. When I was younger, I didn't want to be pigeonholed. Basically, now you want to be pigeonholed. It's your niche. Joan Chen actress appeared in The Last Emperor and Twin Peaks. Creating demand is hard. Filling demand is much easier. Don't create a product and seek someone to sell it to. Find a market. Define your customers. Then find or develop a product for them. I have been a student and an athlete. Find a market to find your customers. Then find and develop a product for them. I've been a student and an athlete, so I develop products for those markets, focusing on the male demographic whenever possible. The audiobook I created for college guidance counselors failed because I had never been a guidance counselor. I developed the subsequent speed reading seminar after realizing that I had free access to students, and the business succeeded because being a student myself, I understood their needs and spending habits. Being a member of your target market and don't speculate what others need or will be willing to buy. Start small, think big. Some people are just into lavish dwarf entertainment. Danny Black, 42-inch, part owner of shortdwarf.com. Danny Black rents dwarfs as entertainment for $149 per hour. How is that for a niche market? It is said that if everyone is your customer, then no one is your customer. If you start off aiming to sell a product to dog or car lovers, stop. It's expensive to advertise to such a broad market, and you are competing with too many products and too much free information. If you focus on how to train German Shepherds or a restoration product for antique Fords, on the other hand, the market and competition shrink, making it less expensive to reach your customers and easier to charge premium pricing. Brain Quicken was initially designed for students, but the market proved too scattered and difficult to reach. Based on positive feedback from student athletes, I relaunched the product as Body Quick and tested advertising in magazines specific to martial artists and power lifters. These are minuscule markets compared to the massive student market, but not small. Low media cost and lack of competition enabled me to dominate with the first neutral accelerator in these niches. It is more profitable to be a big fish in a small pond than a small, undefined fish in a big pond. How do you know if it's big enough to meet your TMI? For a detailed real-life example on how I determine the market size of a recent product, see Muse Map on this book's companion site. Ask yourself the following questions and find profitable niches. Which social, industry, and professional groups do you belong to, have you belonged to, or Do you understand whether dentists, engineers, rock climbers, recreational cyclists, car restoration aficionados? That's Spanish. How you just gonna throw a Spanish word and the whole sentence is English? Dancers or other. Completely threw me off my rocker. Look creatively at your resume, work experience, physical habits, and hobbies, and compile a list of all the groups, past and present, that you can associate yourself with. Look at products and books you own, include online and offline subscriptions, and ask yourself what groups or people purchase the same. Which magazine, websites, and newsletters do you read on a regular basis? Well, I write about everything that I read or I inquire about. I don't know what he's talking about. I got books I need to be working on, but I've been working on grants. So I'm only one person. Yes, books. Which of the groups you identified have their own magazines? Visit a large bookstore such as Barnes and Nobles and browse the magazine rack for smaller specialty magazines to brainstorm additional niches. There are literally thousands of occupations and interest, hobby-specific magazines to choose from. Use Writer's Market to identify magazine options outside the bookstore. Narrow the groups from question I above to those that are reachable through one or two small magazines. It's not important that these groups all have a lot of money, e.g. golfers, only that they spend money. Amateur athletes, bass fishermen on products of some type. Call these magazines, speak to the advertising director and tell them that you are considering advertising. Ask them to email their current advertising rate card and include both readership numbers. Ooh, this is good. Oh, this is excellent. Readership numbers and magazine back issue samples. Search the back issues for repeat advertisers who sell direct to customer via 800 numbers of websites. The more repeat advertisers and the more frequent their ads, the more profitable a magazine is for them and will be for us. Oh, honey. Step 2, brainstorm. Do not invest in products. Genius is only a superior power of seeing. John Ruskin, famed art and social critic. Pick the two markets that you are most familiar with and have their own magazines with a full-page advertising that costs less than $5,000. There should be no fewer than 15,000 readers. Lord have mercy. Ooh. $15,000 readers. This is the fun part. Now we get to brainstorm or find products with these two markets in mind. The goal is to come up with a well-formed product idea and spend nothing. Oh, I've done that already. In step 3, we will create advertising for them and test responses from real customers before investing in manufacturing. There are several criteria that ensure the end product will fit into automated architecture. The main benefits should be encapsulated in one sentence. People can dislike you and you often sell more by offending some, but they should never misunderstand you. The main benefit of your product should be explainable in one sentence or phrase. How it is different and why should I buy it? One sentence or phrase, folks. Apple did an excellent job of this with the iPod. Instead of using the usual industry jargon with GB, bandwidth, and so forth, they simply said 1,000 songs in your pocket. Done deal. Keep it simple and do not move ahead with a product until you can do this without confusing people. It should cost the customer $50 to $200. The bulk of companies set price in the mid-range, and that is where the most competition is. Pricing low is short-sighted because someone else is always willing to sacrifice more profit margin and drive you both bankrupt. Besides perceived value, There are three main benefits to creating a premium high-end image and charging more than the competition. Higher pricing means that we can sell fewer units and thus manage fewer customers and fulfill our dream lines. It's faster. Higher pricing attracts lower maintenance customers, better credit, fewer complaints, questions, fewer returns, etc. It's less headache. This is huge. Higher pricing also creates higher profit margins. It's safer. I personally aim for an 8 to 10x markup, which means a $100 product can't cost more than $10 to $12.50. If I had to use the common recommended 5x markup with this brain quicken, it would have gone bankrupt within 6 months due to a dishonest supplier and late magazine. The profit margin saved it, and within 12 months, it was generating up to $80,000 per month. High has its limits. However, if the per unit price is above a certain point, prospects need to speak to someone on the phone before they are comfortable enough to make the purchase. This is contraindicated on our low information diet. I have found that a price range of $50 to $200 per sale provides the most profit for the least customer service hassle. Price high and then justify. Ooh, so I will keep in mind when I'm doing advertising to have it boiled down to one sentence. That one sentence is get your book done in one weekend. That's it. Something like that. Okay. It should take no more than 3 to 4 weeks to manufacture. This is critically important for keeping costs low and adapting to sales demand without stockpiling product in advance. I will not pursue any product that takes more than 3 to 4 weeks to manufacture, and I recommend aiming for 1 to 2 weeks for order placement to shippable product. How do you know how long something takes to manufacture? Contact contract manufacturers who specialize in the type of products you're considering. Call a related manufacturer if you need a referral to a related manufacturer you cannot find. Still no luck, Google different synonyms for your product in combination with organization and association to contact the appropriate industry organizations. Ask them for referrals to contract manufacturers and for the name of their trade magazines, which often contain advertisement for contract manufacturers and related service providers will need for your virtual architect later. Request pricing from the contract manufacturers to ensure the proper markup is possible. Determine the per unit cost of production for 100, 500, 1,000, and 5,000 units. It should be fully explainable in a good online FAQ. Frequently asked questions. Here is why I really screwed up in my product choice with Brain Quicken. Let's put that this way, okay. Even though ingestibles have enabled my new rich life, I would not wish them on anyone. Why not? You get 1,000 questions from every customer. Can I eat bananas with your product? Will it make me fart during dinner? On and on. Ad nauseam, choose a product that you can fully explain in a good online frequently asked questions. If not, the task of traveling and otherwise forgetting about work becomes very difficult, or you end up spending a fortune on call center operators. Understanding these criteria, a question remains: how does one obtain a good news product that satisfies them? There are 3 options we'll cover in ascending order of recommendation. Whew. And we're going to end it there for today. We're almost not quite. We're halfway through chapter 9. We'll pick up at option 1, resell a product later. Let me go to my next stop. Well, thank you for tuning in, Love Tubers. We went through quite a bit of information today, the grant writing as well as chapter 9 of the 4-hour work week. And I appreciate you sharing the time with me while I'm getting the nutrition in me. Yes, indeed. And Today's Thursday. I'll be back tomorrow. Sure will. Absolutely. And then I'm gonna start getting ready for the weekend. It's Memorial Day weekend. So yes. Yes. I hope you party hard. Yes, indeed. Um, but thank you, lovelies. I appreciate you. And take care. See you tomorrow. And then when I see you tomorrow, I will let you know how these last two grants turned out after I've gotten stuff together. And I did learn that if you're doing two different type of grants, you have to open the account. You have to have two separate accounts. I learned that when I watched the grant video the other day, and they were doing $1,000 give out grants, quick grants. And they said if it's different than the one that you applied with, which is one of the questions I had when I was watching, and I didn't know, it was in the back of my mind. I just hadn't asked yet. But you do have to have a different, you got to apply with like a different name and everything for the second grant. You can't just go up under the initial grant chosen for that. So, whole different. I've got to decide which email I want to use. All right. All right, honeys. Thank you, loves. And I'll talk with you later.